Got a great show for you today. We got Lisa Ann about 5:45 with the fantasy picks, and we have a surprise baseball guest that you're going to want to hear, whether you're a Bronx guy or a Queens guy. This is somebody you're going to want to make sure you listen to because there might be an announcement coming up at 5:30 today. Good afternoon, Evan. How are you today, kid?
I am very good. Happy Veterans Day. Thanks to all the veterans out there. Every day should be Veterans Day, but happy Veterans Day to everybody.
Yes.
It's good to see your smiling face, Craig.
Well, you know what? Veterans Day is a very important day to me, as it should be to all Americans. And as you know, for the last 6 or 9 months or so, I started a project. It's really a passion project more than anything else. I'm not expecting anybody else to have any interest in it. But I started to interview World War II veterans because, as you know, that generation is dying. They're in their 90s, late 80s, et cetera. And there aren't, sadly, millions of those men and women left. And it has been, I would say, of all the cool things I've gotten to do in my life, being on the radio and TV and all that stuff, one of the most rewarding projects and things that I've ever gotten involved with. And I did it really because I wanted my kids to hear their stories. And as an American who is grateful for the service of other Americans, men and women, I wanted to hear the stories. It was really kind of almost selfish in that regard that I know these guys have tremendous stories. And a lot of them never shared their stories.
Dude, that's the one thing I remember as a kid growing up. Both my grandpas served in World War II, and they wouldn't want to talk about it.
Right.
And I would ask as a kid, hey, tell me about this, tell me about that. And both of them, and I totally respect why, would try to change the subject.
Yeah, part of it's that they saw a lot of terrible things. That's part of it.
Yes.
But the other part that I found, and this is just my educated guess, now having interviewed a number of World War II veterans, and sadly, some of the veterans I've interviewed in the last 6 months passed away, in the time between today and when I did the interviews with them, is that they felt there was their obligation, their duty as Americans back then to answer the call, right? Whether drafted or not, to answer the call. And they didn't think they did anything special. So in talking about it, at least in my experience, a lot of these men and women do not want to share the stories because they don't think they did anything extraordinary. Why would I tell you about what I did?
Right.
I did what I should have done.
But the truth is what they did do was extraordinary.
Beyond extraordinary. So this one gentleman I met, and again, I know we're doing a sports show. I get it. But it's Veterans Day.
It's Veterans Day.
Yeah, and if you are a veteran or in the family of a veteran, especially, of course, World War I, World War II, and you have stories or things you want to share with us that relatives have shared with you, I'll take those calls all day here, right? But there's this one particular story I want to share because if you go back to World War II, there was the Philippines were the site of some really terrible war atrocities, right? And we were getting our asses kicked in the Philippines. So we put together, for the first time ever, a group of men that became the Army Rangers. They didn't exist. And it was fashioned after a British outfit of soldiers. And I forget the exact name, and I apologize for that, right? And the idea was that there was a prisoner of war camp in the Philippines where we had been just ravaged. We did a terrible job in the Philippines. You know about the death march, sadly, that took place. They put these soldiers on display and killed them, right? And tortured them. So they put together this group of, like a ragtag group of guys, to go into the Filipino jungle and to rescue, knock on wood, there be any survivors, of this POW camp, right? And I got to interview one of the guys that was part of that group. And it was one of the most emotional and amazing interviews I've ever done, listening to the guy share a story he had never told his family before about when they got there. And there have been books written about this particular rescue mission. And when I was away, I happened to read one of the books, which is why I was hopeful that one day I would talk to one of the guys involved. And I got that opportunity. And he started crying while he was telling the story because A, he had never shared the story before, and B, the things he witnessed were so awful. And I was just so glad I got to be a part of that and listen to this soldier, this hero, share the story. And I made a vow that I would, to the extent that I have anything to do with it, would never, ever let a Veterans Day go by without acknowledging what these guys did.
Well, especially World War II, because there aren't that many guys left who served to hear their stories.
Yeah. And some of them, they're up on YouTube, and we got more to do. So anyway, if you are a veteran, if you are related to a veteran, and
thank you.
Anything you want to say on the show today, you want to share any stories, nothing to do with sports, obviously we're going to do that.
And you hit on it. Families of veterans, thank you, too, because you put up a lot. I mean, without your loved ones for an extended period of time in the cause of freedom, so thank you.
Especially if you go back to World War II, World War I, women, many of whom were not allowed, obviously, to fight, kept the house in order, kept the kids going down the right path, got jobs to make sure there was money so that kids could eat. So women are as big a part of it as the men that actually went to war. So anyway, we'll take your calls on that throughout the day. And we do have a surprise guest at 5:30 that you're going to want to hear for sure. Now, we got some football. The New York Giants are coming off their bye week. That always concerns me, Evan, especially for a team that is overachieving and was in a good path, right? Mm-hmm. And it's funny because normally I would concoct some kind of idea in my head that the bye week was bad, that it's going to stop all the momentum, and oh boy, what are we going to see? And I got to be honest, if you're a diehard Giant fan, I have such firm and complete belief
you're screwed.
in Brian Daboll
well, you guys
and
are
Joe
screwed,
Shane,
Giant fans. I'm sorry.
Then I don't think you're going to miss a beat.
Yeah, there's a problem. There's a problem because for the last few days I have felt this, and I say this with as much peace and love as I can because I'm a Jet fan, and you know that I have Roberts-itis, as you've defined it as. I try my hardest to relate to every team in this town, even if I don't root for them. I try to put myself in the shoes of the fans of the teams I don't root for. And as I put myself in the shoes of Giant fans, I am scared about Sunday. I fear Sunday. Number one, Xavier McKinney. Can we not downplay the fact that you just lost one of your key guys on defense and you did it for something that has nothing to do with football? Now, do I trust the veteran leadership of Julian Love as a defensive play caller? I do. But do I trust Dane Belton as a rookie? No. It just scares me. It feels like an injury like that, coming off a bye, playing a team like this in my building where I have the most expectations going into a game I've had all season long.
That's right.
I got to tell you right now, I'm trying to relate.
Yeah.
I feel sick about this game on Sunday.
I got to tell you, I don't feel sick at all. I feel uber confident. And obviously, I'm not even a Giant fan.
Exactly.
The Texans stink. And yes, losing Xavier McKinney's a big blow. I'm not going to say it's not. But I got to tell you, 8 games into a season, I have unwavering belief in Brian Daboll. I really do. I think they're going to be fine. And I heard a story.
I don't.
I was driving home yesterday.
I do not. For this week, I don't think you'll be fine.
I was driving home yesterday after the show, and I heard Keith McPherson and Kim Jones do a fabulous job with this Giant show. Mm-hmm. What an upgrade, right? And I'm just teasing Big Mac. We're fine. We're in a good place. He may not be in a good place at 5:30, but we're in a good place right now. Anyway, and I heard Kim Jones tell the story that, Xavier McKinney was in Cabo, and unfortunately broke his hand. He's out for 4 games minimum. That Daniel Jones showed up Monday morning at 7:30 at the Giant facility. He didn't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. He didn't go on vacation. He didn't take a break. The kid showed up. And when I saw that and heard that from Kim Jones last night, I went like this. I went, the Giants going to be
That's
just
one
fine.
guy, though.
It's the quarterback.
I understand that, but if you can't stop Dameon Pierce on Sunday and he's bludgeoning the Giants' run defense, it may not matter.
It's the quarterback.
I get it.
Stop the Roberts-itis crap for once in your life.
You know what?
And get on board the fact that the New York Giants, while they're going to lose again this year, for sure, and the schedule after Detroit next week does get a lot harder, they are not going to have a hiccup against the Houston Texans. Because did you hear what Lovie Smith said about Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
Did you hear it?
And what does that mean?
Lovie Smith, nice guy, idiot. Lovie Smith said, we've seen all the video on Daniel Jones. Our goal is to get him out of the pocket. He's a pure pocket passer. And I'm going to myself, Are you watching football? I know you're an older man, but have you watched the Giants this year? Daniel Jones is not a pocket
Daniel
passer.
Jones will beat you with his legs.
And if you force him out of the pocket, you're doing the Giants a favor.
And the Houston Texans, I get it, on paper are dead last in the NFL.
This is a
at
rout.
stopping the run. But a lot of things in the NFL don't make sense. I'll give you an example.
Evan, the
Last
Giants
night,
win every game by a touchdown or less.
So what does that mean?
This is going to be the first game. It's a walk for them.
You guys are screwed. I'm
Wow.
sorry. I'm sorry. For any Giant fan who's mad at me for sounding alarms, I'm being honest. This guy is putting the hex on you.
I'm the guy you want on that wall.
Really?
All due respect to veterans.
What did you
That's
say
exactly
last week
right.
about the Jets-Bills game? I sort of forgot.
I forgot to.
I forgot.
It's in the past.
I can't remember.
I have the memory of a goldfish. If I hear it, I'm going to be very upset about it. Oh.
Really?
Now, Big Mac's in an interesting little quandary, isn't he? In a bit of a pickle. I have moved past his insurrection yesterday and defiance on this show because I'm a good guy. But he's now at a crossroads. Is he going to push the button or not push the button?
Here's the thing. I haven't moved past anything. Press the bleeping button
I know what we are, I know what we're
now.
not. And what we're not is a team capable of beating the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Let's just say it the way it is. The
Okay.
New York Jets cannot beat the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
If the defiance must continue,
This
it
is
must
as
continue.
unwinnable a game as the Jets have had in
Uh-huh.
a while.
Okay. Okay. Again, I'm trying to be a good guy. I said what I had to say yesterday, but if it has to carry over, then it has to carry over.
I'll take the bullet. That's on me.
Is that on you?
Because here's the thing, Craig. When will you learn? When will you learn?
About what?
When will you learn
the
that
Giants
this is
are not losing
No.
to the Texans.
When
you know
will
that.
you learn that this is the NFL?
Yeah.
And when you think you have things figured out, they change the questions. Last night, the Carolina Panthers can't stop the run. You saw what happened
I
last
thought
week
the
against
Carolina
Joe
Panthers
Mixon.
were going to win last
That's
night.
not my point. The Carolina Panthers can't stop the run.
Yeah.
31st in the league. Only team worse is Houston. I didn't see Atlanta, who's got a top 10 run game, run the football down their throats. Like, sometimes the easy logic, and it's easy, and I get why you think it. Oh, Saquon, he's going for a $190. It's going to be easy. The Texans' run defense is awful. Dude, a lot of times this doesn't even make sense.
By the way, did you see Marcus Mariota's pass? Now, he was ruled down. He was down. But did you see the pass he tried to make yesterday off his ass?
Yeah. Yes.
That was the worst pass in the history of the NFL.
And Arthur Smith.
I loved it.
And Arthur Smith is still not considering a quarterback change. Can't do it.
Can't do it.
I
That's our
took a
guy.
quarterback in the third round, but I can't do it.
Anyway, we got lots to do today. A lot of football. It's a big football weekend. There are, listen, you start the day off. I know a lot of you guys love the morning football. I don't, but there's a great morning football game on paper at least, and it's two first-place teams. You got 4-5 Tampa. I know they're 4-5, but they are in first place, and they can take a full game lead over Atlanta because Atlanta lost last night. And you've got the Geno Smith Seattle Seahawks in first place at 6-3. Good game tomorrow or Sunday morning.
I mean, what's crazy is that the Seattle Seahawks have the quarterback edge. Who would have ever thought we would say that? Geno
No, they did
better
not.
than Tom
Stop with
Brady.
that. I'll give Geno Smith all the credit in the world. He is playing his ass off.
This season?
He ain't better than Tom Brady.
This season?
And that's crazy talking,
This
you know
season in 2022.
Is it Tom Brady's fault that Scotty Miller drops the ball, hits him in the face in the end zone?
Listen, not everything is Tom's fault, but Geno's had a better year than Tom. That's all.
Stop it. It's
It's
crazy
pretty
talk.
simple. You can just agree with that.
I'm going to check you.
Doesn't
I'm going to
mean-
check you. I'm going
what
to
do
drug test you.
What does that mean?
Geno Smith's better than Tom Brady.
No. He's had a better.
This is some kind of crap you're spewing
Correct.
today.
He's had a better season than Tom Brady?
No, he hasn't.
Tua's had a better season than Tom Brady.
Oh, again, is that what we're going to do today?
Well, he
Is our
has.
goal just to embarrass ourselves and offend the great Tom Brady? Is that what we're doing today?
Tom should be offended. He's
Who, by
playing
the way,
worse than
goes
Geno
to the
Smith.
same restaurant I go to for lentil soup, especially on a rainy day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if the old man could take that kind of plane trip to Germany. That's a long trip,
That
Tom.
is a long trip. I wonder if he was doing deep knee bends on the way there. By the way, they did ask Geno Smith that. They did.
That's perfect.
And I saw Geno's interview this morning, and I will give Geno Smith credit. He has matured big time. So a reporter in Germany, although an American reporter, or at least an English-speaking reporter, I don't know if he's American or not, says to Geno Smith, long flight, any shot you did high knee bends or whatever it was, right? And Geno goes, I know what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to do. I ain't going there. He goes, but then he caught himself. He answers the question. He goes, that being said, when we got to the field, did plenty of high knee bends. So he's having a good time, as he should. And that game, for the first time ever, an NFL regular season game in Germany. Look,